I would like to invite Stephen Lovelace to come forward and talk about a life well lived.
There's more to that one than you know. Well, I would just like to start right now by doing my own joy. Two of my very best friends in the world are in the pulpit right now. I mean, in the pulpit. I'm the one in the pulpit, right? Got it. And I do know that I have some family online here, so I feel really honored by their presence, along with the rest of you lovely people. Thank you for coming to listening to my rambly ruminations of being a brand new senior citizen. My friend Sue, who's someplace around here, last week told me that all good sermons and homilies start with a joke. So I thought it might be worth a try, so here goes. How many Unitarian Universalists does it take to screw in a light bulb? I don't know. Let's talk about it. Oh, God. I was worried about that. So a couple of months ago, I did turn that magic number. You know it, 65. Many of you know it, I'm sure. I did the paces of applying for Medicare and doing all my healthcare stuff, and I'm also really on top of senior discounts. I want you all to know that. And I wait this long and work this hard for something and not take it up on it. But I've also been really pondering, as I am prone to do, about this milestone in my life. And it's a really big thing for me to contemplate giving up my work life. And I have been contemplating it, let me tell you, that I've toiled so hard to have and I've loved so deeply, and just simply retire. This work that I've done, it's been my child. It's been my brain. It's been my best friend in the world. And yet, my career has been so darn full and absorbing for me, this work life of mine, that I think I do have to give it up in order to let other things come in. I've had this theater camp. John's been there before a few times. So has his daughter. Since 2000, I share it with my best friend, Shauna. Her husband administrates, her two teenagers grew up in the program. My own adopted daughter, Tally, spent 10 years in the camp. It's been a true gift, and it's exhausting, and it's all-encompassing. This year's production was The Little Mermaid. And one more time, I am truly reminded of how immersion and exhaustion come together to make art. It's truly a beautiful process. And it's not for the faint of heart, and it's not just it's not just because of the product of a show, but beautiful in the way that it changes all of us, the actors, from the inside out. And it also changes me as a director and a witness. And pretty much every single time as I bear witness to a young artist understanding themselves a little more and a little more, I think this work definitely has been my child and my best friend, and it's exhausting. And I love it so much that it hurts. It really does. And theater does that. It sure does. Stepping into shoes and mind of somebody else. That's what you do when you're in a show. You become someone else. And the more you work on that new person that you're trying to share with an audience, the more effective you are inside of this world. If one becomes truly vulnerable and allows this new person to simply breathe, it's almost like doing therapy, and you're the therapist. As a director, it's equally therapeutic to facilitate this process for another, especially for a young person. And you see it when it gets beyond simply acting, when it is true transformation. It's very exciting. I live for it. I can honestly say this to you all. theater has been a part of my best life. So I have this big old group of kids from my school that have infiltrated this theater camp, about a dozen of them. And they show up every summer and they audition. They're loud, they're very confident, they're a bit showy, they sing out loud a lot. They were in my little dance company at school, starting at age 7 when they were in the 2nd grade. And if I could pack them all up and move them in with me, I certainly would, except their parents would come after me. And their parents are still so happy that these kids still come to my theater camp and work out their theater yayas with me. They come to perform and dance and expend all this stage energy, and they're a year out of high school now. Crazy. And they too are totally at their best, and you can see and hear their happiness and expansiveness. They love it no matter what, and they are not remotely quiet about it. They too, they're living their best life. I see it, and they're being so open about it. They are a total inspiration to the other kids. They all pick up on the love that these dozen kids generate, and they want to be a part of it too, and it drives them to seek out their own best life. One's best life. I'm thinking it might be contagious, actually. So how have I managed this life of mine? What measures this life? So I was one of those fortunate ones who had a career that I chose and not a job. I've always been more of a seeker than someone who settles into a groove. It's like the whole act of working takes on a greater meaning for me. Following a career path was just simpler. And it was like wanting to have children. It's not something you necessarily have to do, but you dream about it and you shape it according to your great dreams, and you need and want it, and then you manifest it. And I would give following a career path a big thumbs up. And it's what's given me so much throughout these years. Doing what you love gives you vital energy, and it allows you to give back more effectively. The vast majority of the time, it's a win-win. Toward the beginning of my career, I worked at the desk at a local dance studio, and I basically ushered students into their classes and took tuitions from moms and babysitters. It was really fun. It's very bustly and good-natured, and I always do well with moms. And kids and dancing are a great combination, right? There was a local woman who was a professional clown for kids' birthday parties, and she came in and rented the studio to put her work together to make these parties happen. She's actually still around. I do see her from time to time, and some of you might even know her. Her name is Gabrielle. She's now the bird lady. I don't know if you know who the bird lady is. She has the owls and she goes around to the schools. Well, one day, Gabrielle came into the dance studio and she asked me if I had 10 minutes to look at something she was working on, a new piece for her parties. Then she went into the studio alone for about a half an hour, and then she called me in. She had this whole physical setup. She had a fold-up little house structure, and she had blocks for elevation, and boy, did she have props. So then she put on a well-known piece of classical music that I long ago forgot, and proceeded to move and dance and run and jump and laugh and cry and give herself completely to this skit she had created. I was absolutely mesmerized with her movement, the pacing, the emotional content that she brought forth. It was nothing short of brilliant. I was blown away. And when she was done, I had to kind of gather myself from this powerful and really private showing. And I asked her, how do you come up with all that? What is your source of inspiration? And she answered something like this. Anytime I'm called to be in front of a group of people, I stop for a quick moment, close my eyes, and ask for this work to be received in the spirit that I intend. So it's that simple. Right. Well, my goodness, I had to try it. and I did. And she was right. So I would say that Gabrielle's methodology was absolutely perfect. I was probably all of 24, and that was over 40 years ago. Jeez. And I have done this ever since. And I even continue that process right here at LOUUC. It took my best life and it made it into a purposeful best life. So I say, thank you, Gabrielle, for sharing this bit of wisdom for me. I sometimes wonder if I would have done all of this without that conversation. I honestly don't know. So let me share one more thing with you today here on Sunday, August 14th, 2022 at LOUUC. That has great meaning to me, and it grips my heart to say this. And it also makes me want to explode with joy. LOUUC will be where I end my work life. I will end it right here. And I don't take this lightly at all. I'm sure you could tell. And it seems so fitting to me that I wrap it up here and not on a show. It has given me so much here with you all, my chosen family. These 5.5 years have been such an encapsulation of my work life, really. And, well, my life in general. Certainly, the good, the bad, and the ugly have all had their part of this experience for me, but more than anything, I leave LOUUC more expanded, more capable, and able to love more deeply. And know this, it will be for me, and I ask this of myself. I choose it as I move toward this part of this life that takes me to my destiny, because at 65, I would not change a thing for all of this accrued love and wisdom. I'd like to find my place on the page. All these lines on my face, I earned from caring and committing, and I'm proud of them. And I thank you for bringing me right here to share this life of mine with you. And it will continue for me when I leave for the desert in the quiet until the next piece reveals itself to me. And in my experience, it always does. Yes, I really do want to thank you all, this congregation, for being so loving and beautiful to my marriage with Greg. It seems like the right step before moving toward our precious desert home. I'm reminded that not all same-sex marriages are so accepted and celebrated, and you all have been so joyful about it. And we both appreciate it so much. And as you all know, our nation may not be as accepting as it once was. Or at least those who don't like it, well, they have more permission to be loud and cruel about their displeasure. They have the freedom to be jerks, I guess. Good for them. And if you're just finding out about my plans and our plans to leave Santa Barbara and move to the high desert, I apologize. Life is often very big for me, and I forget who I have and haven't spoken to about all this transition and this retirement. It's very exciting, and I can't wait to not set an alarm in the morning and maybe even sleep till like 8 o'clock. Imagine that. I also want to appreciate those right here who have retired before me and lived your good life as an example. I have been paying attention, and now I want it. And I doubt that I will actually slow down that much at all. But I'm grateful for this springboard of launching me to take my leave, and I will do my best to wrap it up with a pretty bow, I promise. And just indulge me for a minute that I have some memories from LOUUC, golden moments, that's what I call them, here with you, my chosen family. So I read about this DRE position here at the USSB newsletter in winter of 2016. And I looked on the website and saw that my friend John was the music director here. So I popped John an email and I inquired about Live Oak, the job, the congregation, and he sent me back this wild response that was really affirming. And I have to tell you, I think that he knew I was going to get this job before I did. So somewhere in between me sending my resume in and coming in for my interview, I showed up for a service at John's invitation, and it was Reverend Tamara's passionate service right before Trump's inauguration. Well, it was certainly full of fire, and it rather blew me away at the candor and honesty. Let's call it honesty, and it was. It was really potent, and I knew then I wanted to be here with you. I remember the first time I co-led a service with Reverend Tamara, Earth Day 2017. I got that full experience of working on a service, working with the kids and the congregation, putting some things together in a meaningful and powerful way. I loved it. I used a kid's book about the environment and a Disney hip-hop video, taking care of the earth. You were also over the moon with what we did, and I just loved you all the more. I also thank you deeply for the opportunity to train and do OWL in the Coming of Age program. These are meaningful programs, and I believe in them. They make such a difference to a kid's life. Also, all the RE Sundays and the inspired artwork, and always, always, always the music. I have such a memory of Laura and Tally singing from Spring Awakening, and this short play we did where I was the woman who outshone the sun, and I wrapped my arm around my head and let my hair cascade down my back, and I would look down and see little Lorenzo on the floor. He followed me around. He was my lizard. I remember Crystal as the goddess in the winter solstice pageant, and Laura singing Ain't No Sunshine. And goodness, here we are today, here. You, here with me. I feel so seen, always. In last week's service, Nancy sang What a Wonderful World. And truly, it was wonderful. And in fact, it was golden. Gosh, Nancy, you really have a way with your feelings in a song like I Just Go There With You. What a gift. You remind me of my sister, who also sang, and you really filled me up with this wonderful world that we share. And John, thank you for realizing all of this music that we sing here. I want you all to know I did pick out all this music today, and I was very, very intentional about each song. So thank you. And right after I'm done here, very soon, we will also be given a grand treat by Nanda and Luana. My goodness, our children from the church and from my summer arts program. I keep referring to things as golden, and I hope you all know what it means for me. It means it was the ultimate, the most it can be. Golden moments have flourished here at Live Oak, and as I begin the process of leaving, I have such feelings of both joy and sorrow. And I say this because I too have feelings about losing our precious minister. And for me, it has been really profound and unsettling. I appreciate you out there, Reverend Tamara. What a blessing to spend these years with you, and thank you so deeply for contributing to my success here at Live Oak. You've given me so much, and I love you. And to you, Live Oak, please know this. I love you too. My goodness. I thank you all deeply for seeing me, for being with me, and for honoring me with today. And thank you for witnessing my best life. And I will see you all again. I'm only a desert away, over there, living my best, well-lived life. Thank you.